This episode is sponsored by Supreme of the UK. Click the link in the description and support the podcast. Quote CFR at the checkout and receive 10% discount on your order.
So Gary Lineker, you should know who that is. If you don't, ex-pro footballer, Leicester City, England legend, match of the day. Been running match of the day from the time I was watching ball, which was a long time ago. And he's been the main guy at match of the day. It doesn't matter who comes and goes. Gary Lineker is always there. Anyway, in the last few days, well, not even in the last few days, with social media in today's world, everyone's on it. Everyone's on it. I mean, you might get the odd person who don't have social media, but for the most part, everyone's on social media. And Gary Lineker, he's came out. I mean, he's quite vocal anyway. He's very vocal, but he's came out and he's criticized the country's immigration policy. You know, he actually compared it to the 1930s in Germany. So what's happened is
Mark,
the BBC, come true, Noble. Feel free to come.
Before you continue, let me just, in my opinion, I wouldn't say he compares it to. I think he's highlighting a similarity of what takes place, because that's where the trouble is when we say that there's a comparison. But please do continue, sir.
Okay, so I'll tell you where I'm literally taking it from an article. So that's how they word it in numerous articles. So thanks for clearing that up. So that they're saying, the mainstream media, they're trying to say he compared it to Germany in the 1930s. So you know what that's about. He's done that. BBC now have said that he can't come back to match of the day until they work out some sort of deal moving forward in how Gary Lineker uses social media. But the issue what I've got with this situation is that in today's world, everyone's on social media, everyone. So no matter what job you are doing, 9 times out of 10, you're on social media. When you're on social media, there's always going to be topics that you believe, that you want to give your opinion on. So it's hard. I can see both sides of it, and I'll break it down. It's hard as a high-profiled employee, because even though he's only speaking about sports, politics and sports kind of go hand in hand now. And I know people will say, oh, you shouldn't be speaking about politics in sports, but we are going to, because in sports you have different races, different religions, different ideas. Everyone believes in different things. Everyone, that's how the world is. You got some people that believe we shouldn't eat meat. You got some people that believe we should eat meat. You got some people that believe you shouldn't pay TV license. You got some people that believe you should. And that's just I'm just keeping it very light. But that's how the world is today. So if you're on social media and you're someone who believes that the immigration policy is wrong, you will be vocal about that. And I'm not saying you might just even answer a question, but you have to remember, when it comes to the BBC, they work with politicians, because what you have to remember is this: the government are the ones who enforce the BBC, I call it the BBC license.
Yes.
They're the ones, and they're gonna start making it difficult to get around that as well, because they're adding new things to it. But they enforce the BBC license. So you have to think, how much money are the BBC making off that? Secondly, the BBC, they're a very conservative organization. Let's keep it real. So from their point of view, it's a conflict of interest. From their point of view, But from Lineker's point of view, you're a man who hosts a show and you want to have an opinion on things. So I find it very difficult for them to silence him. But we know that in today's world, people don't want you to say what's on your mind. There's so much going on that I believe is wrong, but you cannot say certain things in today's world, especially since 2020. No will come to you, man.
You're hitting on so many different things. Pardon self. Let me work backwards. The self-censorship that people are under, and some people are not even necessarily aware of it. It's not like a conscious decision they're making to self-censor themselves. And actually, someone asks you a direct question and you have to think, okay, well, how do I answer this question? Do I be honest and speak from my heart and from my mind? Or do I just literally utilize the mind and think, will there be consequences based upon what I say? Now, going back, just a few years, freedom of speech was just a standard thing. As long as you're not, condemning people to death, etc., inciting violence, that everybody was entitled to that. 2019, 2020 comes, and then we have like this crazy movement where, if someone walks past your house and looks in your window, you're offended by that, and you can now call the police and say, look, I don't like this guy. He just walked past my house. He looks suspicious. I want something done about this. Someone's put a comment under my post and I'm offended by this because I identify it in a different kind of way. It's like you can't. How difficult is it in the Gregorian year of 2023 to navigate, just to have a general conversation? Hi guys. Oh, you can't say that anymore. Good day, gentlemen and ladies. Oh, you can't say that anymore. If you're a woman, and then here's the other one which slides into this. The NHS are trying to remove woman from like ovarian screening and cervix this and any woman's health. They want to remove woman from that, Mark. Where's the logic? Where's the sense being provided to the masses? Because unfortunately the masses, as they say, are asses, because they're just following blindly. Oh, well, the government's Mark Noble. The government said that there were 74 different genders now. Yeah. So you got to get down or you lay down. And if you don't lay down, we're going to put you down. We're going to smear you all throughout the tabloids. We're going to say this, you're anti this, you're scared of this community. Like, it's real tricky, Mark. Hella tricky these days.
1,000%. 1,000%. It's very difficult. You have to know. I feel like once you have to kind of almost have tunnel vision now in today's world. Meaning, if you're going to sign up to a certain position, which I can't really even include Gary Lineker in this because he's been doing it before we've touched into the world we're living in today. He's been doing it from before them times. But I feel definitely now, if you're a man who's a pundit or any kind of commentary or anything, you kind of have to just stick to that. I feel like on social media, you have to stick to that. When you start having like an input and the BBC are signing your checks, you're going to struggle. Now, this will get sorted out, I think Lineker, I think the contracts of old need revising. I feel like the BBC, ITV, Sky, all these different broadcasters need to now sit down with their employees and say, look, this is what you can and can't do. Because what it is now is I feel like telling someone that they just can't comment at all is crazy. Because back in the day, you would have a Gary Lineker who would be on Match of the Day, football, like all of that stuff. but he's a different kind of celebrity to the celebrities that we have of today.
Yes.
A celebrity of today takes pictures of their food, takes pictures of their holidays, takes pictures of their families. So it's almost a personal experience. A man who's following a celebrity, especially one who posts often, you're going to feel like you know that person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that kind of link between the general public and a celebrity, now people can start to ask personal questions. So you'll have people who will ask questions like, you know, what do you think about animal rights? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about the vaccine? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Now you're going to have some people that are just like, will ignore that kind of stuff. But then you're going to have other people who are so passionate about what they're talking about that they'll give an opinion. Now, that opinion may not align with the broadcaster. And that's what we've seen happen to Gary Lineker. He's vocal. Now, it's difficult because in one breath, you applaud a man for being vocal, but then in the next breath, it's like, that is his livelihood. That's how he eats. That's how he makes money. So people are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You go to work and do your job, or do you try and speak up for what you believe is right or wrong? Now, when you do that, that could cost you.
Mm-hmm.
That could cost you greatly. Now, it might not cost Gary Lineker because he's well established and he's got money. But a man who isn't in that position sometimes may have to turn his back on what he believes is right or wrong. And I think that's unfair.
It's totally unfair, Mark.
Definitely unfair, especially when it comes to politics as well. Like, everyone's supposed to have their opinion.
It's pushing people into a place where, again, consciously and subconsciously, they're having to toe the line. They're having to disregard their morals, their their potential upbringing, their stance on certain things. I mean, let's paint the scenario. You got Michael, who's in a corporate environment, and let's not be stupid about things. When you're in a corporate environment, unfortunately, West Indians, Africans are the minority, and we can say Asians as well. We are the minority, and the higher up we go into those echelons within the corporate structure, the less and less and less we see of people who reflect ourselves. And I can speak about that from personal experience, not from just looking at newspapers and doing statistical research. I know this. You cannot stick your head up above the thing, even if you excel, Mark, within your role.
Yeah.
No, let's not even get into that. You have to put your head down, tunnel vision, put those things on that the horses have, the Shire horses that pull the carts, and just look ahead of you. You got something to say? Just keep it to if this is what the mainstream media are promoting. Yeah, I agree with what the newspaper said. I agree with Piers Morgan. I agree with those people. Yeah, count me in. I'm down with this immigration thing. Yeah. And it stops people from being able to express themselves. Because if you express yourself, as we're saying, there's a consequence to your actions. Michael, you can't say these things. It's 2023 now. We're going to write you up. I've already given you a verbal. If I hear any other kind of stuff that you're talking, you're out, mate. Job gone.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah, it's true. That's where we're at. That's where we're at now. That's where the situation is at now. We're in a place now where a man cannot talk. And one thing that they'll definitely come to a resolution, because Alan Shearer, Ian Wright, they've all said they're not, they ain't going to appear on the show. So if they're not appearing on the show, you got to remember, these are people that the fans of the show have built up a rapport with.
Yes.
People that watch Match of the Day. There's certain shows, you know, that you can't change the host. Like if that host goes from that show, the show's more or less over. We only have to look at Top Gear. No matter what your personal opinion on Jeremy Clarkson is, Top Gear hasn't been the same. It was never the same when that fallout happened. Because
and wasn't that over comments as well?
He made no. What did he do? What happened back then? Something happened. I can't remember what it was.
I'm sure it was something similar, that his stance on something. He was like, you know, you can't say them things or do those things. And yeah, I'm sure of it, man. Because we can look at these points, and we can see celebrities that, you know, for 10 plus years they were just doing their thing, and then next thing you know, they make a joke or they say something, and it's like, oh well, oh wait a minute, there's something now called cancellation. And we're not just talking about bookings. We're basically saying, if we don't agree with your stance, you're finito. We're no longer allowing you to make money in this industry.
That's it. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on now. But like I said, this is a case that will be resolved quite soon. I feel like give this a week or two, they'll have this resolved. They'll just say that, you know, they'll speak to him, he'll speak to them, they'll meet in the middle, he'll get his job back, and that'll be over. Because that show will die if you take him off the show. Like it's not going to be the same. So they'll come to a conclusion. But what's more important about this whole situation is, what about the people who are not decorated, like a Gary Lineker?
Yes.
You can't speak. That's what this is showing you. You can't speak. You can't have an opinion. We only have to see, look how much things we've been divided on since 2020. There's been so much things. It got to a point you couldn't even say, I don't want to do this because of this reason. It would then be, what do you mean? What do you mean? You don't want it? You know, it would be a big thing.
Yes.
Like a lot of these platforms would almost flag people who weren't going with the mainstream narrative. So when it comes to politics, same sort of thing. But when it comes to the BBC, they have a horse in the race. They always have. They always have. And remember, with a lot of their programming, they can kind of sway the general public. I'm not saying all of the general public, but they can sway a lot of the general public into making certain. Yeah, man.
Shaping it, the shaping the narrative. Yeah.